guys, welcome back. I'm Suzanne Villegas with the Greater Boston Paranormal TV. We're out on location today in Hampton, New Hampshire at the very haunted James House. I'm here with Don.
And we're going to talk to Willy Hassell today of Spirit Chasers Paranormal. We're going to talk about the history of the house and all the work they're doing in terms of restoration. We're going to take a tour, and then we're going to talk about the paranormal activity here at the James House. So don't go anywhere and sit back and relax.
Do you feel it? It went through like a path, like a wave. Are you still here with us? What are your intentions? Murder. Oh,
So here we are. I'd like to introduce everybody to our friend Willy Hassell from Spirit Chasers Paranormal. Willy's a good friend of ours. He's done some stuff on the ship with us. He is one of the masterminds behind the Parafest we had aboard Salem back in the spring, and the second annual will be this coming May. You'll hear a little bit more about that as we move forward. But for the moment, we're here to talk about the James House. Willy spends a lot of time here. He manages the tours and things of that nature that go on here. So, Willy, I wanted to talk a little bit first about the house itself, about how old exactly, just so that everybody understands exactly.
But first, thank you, Don, for coming up here and having us on. We appreciate it.
Oh, always a pleasure.
And the house was originally, Benjamin James came to Hampton in 1690 from Newbury, Mass. And he was looking for, he wanted to apprentice as a weaver. So he came to Hampton. He bought, I believe it was 4 acres of land on Drakeside Road, which is now Toll Farm Road up here. And in 1705, he built a small house out, was behind the main house here. And he married Susanna Smith, and he finished his apprenticeship as a weaver when he was 17 years old, and got married and had a very successful weaving business. And they also ran the place as a farm. And in 1723 it was that they built the main house here. And over the years, Benjamin's son and grandson also both went into the weaving business, and they were weavers, very successful. And then I believe it was the third generation, Joshua, instead of going into weaving, he became a house joiner, which is a carpenter.
Okay.
And he got involved with the coffin mill. He was part owner of the coffin mill, which is approximately a mile from here. And over the years, they went into different things, farming. They bought more land. They ended up with owning all the property from here all the way down to basically to the ocean, all the salt marsh. And they did salt marsh haying. They had apple orchards.
What the heck is salt marsh haying?
It's haying, but with a salt marsh. I mean, what can I say? It's salt marsh and it's hay.
Okay, all right. I guess I just don't equate it.
You're from Massachusetts.
Oh, and they don't do it in Massachusetts.
No, haven't you ever gone by like a salt marsh and seen these big humps of hay stacked up?
No.
No.
Okay.
It's a New Hampshire thing.
No, actually it's not.
Good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
So, they did all kinds of farming. They also had dairy farming. They had cows.
Heard of that?
Heard of that? Heard of cows. I just recently found out they also had some pigs, some hogs.
Okay.
And so it was very successful. And over the years, in different generations, there was actually 7 generations of the James family that lived here and worked on the farm and on the land. And in 1930, the house was sold to the Campbell family, and the Campbells lived here. They were only in the house for about 10 years, and Mrs. Campbell, the big house got to be a little too much for her, I guess. And there used to be, right on the other side of the driveway here, there was a carriage house.
Okay.
And so they moved from the big house into the carriage house. And so nobody has lived in this house for 82 years. The house has been empty.
Okay.
And I'm not sure of the date. I believe it was approximately 1990 when the James House Association took over the house and started the restoration efforts. And so that brings us to where we are today.
Okay. All right. So, obviously, because of the work we do on the ship, we're pretty familiar with the amount of work and to a greater extent, the amount of money that goes into restoring and to, in our case, keeping a historic location afloat, so to speak.
Yeah.
How can people? There must be ways people can help, right? With the restoration.
Absolutely. I mean, we're always looking for volunteers to physically help, or any donations, of course, are greatly appreciated.
Okay.
Because as you say, it's a money pit.
No, I can see that. I can see that.
If anybody does want to help out or donate, we are on Facebook, the James House Association, and from there you can find out more information about where to go.
Okay.
To help out, to make donations. We do a number of things for fundraising. We do, Skip, who is our president of the board, does historical tours.
Okay.
And he doesn't charge, but people hopefully will give donations for that. We have done in the past, we've had concerts outside. We've had some very good bands.
Yeah, really nice concerts out in the big yard here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place to have concerts. And we managed to raise a little bit of money on that. And I don't know if anybody told you, Don, but this house is haunted. Did you know that?
There were rumors. There were rumors. Suzanne told me.
Yeah.
You let the cat out of bed?
Yeah, it's out there.
And your group, I hope I got it right, Spirit Chasers.
Spirit Chasers Paranormal.
And
you can find us on Facebook too, but on Facebook it's Spirit Chasers Paranormal NH.
Oh, okay. All right.
Technically not part of the name, but on Facebook.
Okay, all right. And I wanted to mention that much like Greater Boston Paranormal Associates, when Spirit Chasers has paranormal events here at the James House, every nickel goes to the house.
Even every penny.
Yeah.
Every penny, every nickel.
And we've never made any secret about the fact that that's how it needs to work. I mean,
we're not interested in making any money off it ourselves. We're here to help the house. Most of us who are members of Spirit Chasers are also board members.
Okay, all right.
For the James House Association.
Okay, great.
So we have opened the house now for the last 2 years, I think it is, to outside teams to come in and do investigations.
Our gang's been here a couple of times.
Yes, you have been here a couple of times. And that's working out well. We're having a good season this season.
Good.
We recently had Christopher Brown, the psychic, came up and, came down actually from Maine and did a couple of gallery readings for us.
Great.
And so it's working out pretty good.
Chris is a great guy.
Yeah,
Does great work.
he's great. He really is.
He's excellent. And so things like that that we're trying to do to raise money to help.
Okay.
Essentially, as far as the restoration goes, up to this point, it's been mostly the outside. We have had a lot of work done on the outside. We've had it completely re-sided.
It's a beautiful house.
It is from the
It
outside.
really is.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
We just put a new roof on last year or the year before.
Yeah, last year, I remember that.
Last year, yeah.
Okay, So, Willie, you're gonna take Suzanne on a tour.
I am.
We're gonna take a look around, and then we're gonna come back down, and we're gonna listen to a little bit of evidence that various people have gathered here in the house. Is that the plan?
That
Sounds
sounds good to
good.
me.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Hang in there.
Okay. Welcome to the James house. Come on in.
Thanks.
As we mentioned earlier in the show, of course, the house was built in 1723. And originally there was a central chimney right in this area here. And at some point that was taken out. And the stairs were completely redesigned to put in this staircase here. And they were added 2 smaller chimneys for wood burning stoves. It was a better way of heating the house.
Heating it, yeah.
And it's my understanding that the original stairway came up in the middle and then branched off to both sides up to the 2 top rooms up here.
Old staircase.
It is.
I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
And this would be pretty much like the living quarters in here. This is the parlor where the family, at times, when the house wasn't complete, there was, everybody kind of slept in the same place in this
Oh,
area here,
really?
and it got crowded. And so, you know, they had to expand the house and add on, make it bigger. And
What's with all the spinning wheels? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
well, they did, you know, weaving and spinning,
Okay.
and these wheels,
They're
they're not original. They're original, but not original to the house. These 2 wheels here, and there's some more in the other
Yeah,
room
I saw those.
that were donated to us by a museum in
Nice.
Lowell, Mass, which was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And this one in here, as we said, Benjamin and Joshua, and Benjamin, his son, and his grandson were all weavers. This weaving loom right here is not the original one, but it's exactly like it, and it does still work.
Wow.
It's kind of put aside right now, but it does work, and we have somebody who does weaving demonstrations with us,
Oh, wow.
which is pretty neat. She really makes some beautiful stuff. on
Yeah,
it.
that's cool.
And over here would be, this area over here would be like what we call the buttery, which was at the time like the kitchen area. And as I had mentioned in the original segment, the original house, the small house, would have been right from here over. And so from this wall that way was the 1723.
Okay.
And this way, and there is a foundation out in back here where the original structure, the 1705 structure was. And this room over here would be, this was like the parlor where they did, this is where they would have the preacher come on Sundays or something, you know.
Yeah.
This is like the nice part of the house, and you know, which they only used on special occasions.
Look at the floors, the width of the floors. It's just amazing.
It is.
Right?
And the beams.
Yep.
You don't see houses built like this anymore.
You really don't. It's just beautiful. Is that a picture of the original house?
Yep, that is the house, and you can see there the 2 chimneys.
Oh, the double chimneys, yeah.
I believe at one point there were chimneys on either end of the house too.
Okay.
And like I said, there was originally the central chimney, which is gone now. But you can see right over here, one of
Yeah.
the mantle from the fireplace, the original chimneys. And if we go this way, take a walk upstairs. This here would have been like the
lower ceilings.
Yeah, they are kind of low.
Yeah. No, is this the original wallpaper? Like,
It is, yeah.
yeah.
Very, very old wallpaper. And again, of course,
The beams, yeah.
the
Nice and wide.
And the plan is not to completely restore the house. I mean, we never get the money to do it anyways,
Right.
but basically they wanted to keep a lot of the inside so that you can see the different periods
Yeah.
of the architecture and stuff. And we did do a lot of work on the outside, so it looks great out there. And, you come inside and you can see different stages
Yeah.
of the work and the different building materials. And this would have been one of the children's rooms.
Nice big bedrooms.
Yeah, they are. It's pretty big house. And now this way. This is what we refer to as the trunk room.
I see.
Any guesses why we call it the trunk room?
Yes, why do you?
Because of the trunk.
Just because of the trunk. Okay, got it. Now, this is the room that when our team came here for a paranormal investigation, I seem to get a lot of activity back in this room.
Yeah, this is one of the.
Is
active
it
rooms.
typically one of,
It moves
a lot of
around the house.
interaction? It
Right,
moves, yeah.
It moves around the house.
Yeah.
Originally, it was like this room and the attic, and nothing ever happened out in the front rooms. But lately, the front bedroom here where we just came from has been pretty active.
Okay, yeah, it does
And
move around.
And the buttery has been pretty active too, which it never used to be. So it has moved around. We can get into the paranormal afterwards, I guess.
Okay, yeah, we'd like to see some evidence or anything that you have to show us, pictures or whatnot from different teams that have come.
And this we call the sick room.
What is that?
A number of members of the James family did die from consumption.
Okay.
We believe this is kind of the area where they would come to,
To pass away.
or to try and get better.
Yeah,
It's something,
okay. And it goes further back?
Yeah. We have at different times, different people have smelled the smell of eucalyptus in here.
Oh, interesting.
Which back in the day was something that they used to treat
To
consumption.
help, yeah. I love all the big old rooms, like you said, they don't build houses like this anymore.
No, they're much sturdier back in those days. Now we might as well take a walk into the attic. What you have?
These are tiny little stairs. Now, do you get a lot of activity up here?
We do sometimes.
Okay. I
Sometimes.
think the attic would be
So
a
this
spot.
is, you can kind of see here where the central chimney used to come up.
Oh, yeah.
Go through the room here.
Yep.
And a lot of people sense children up here,
Okay.
and people have heard children giggling. And this little room in here is, we call this Frank's room.
Frank's room. Why is that?
The James family did have one hired hand who would work around the farm, and his
Okay.
name was Frank James. No relation. It just,
Oh,
just happened
interesting.
that way. And this was kind of like his quarters, his workshop,
Yeah.
and this is where he would hang out. And on the paranormal side, just recently, we've had a couple of incidents in here. When we're investigating, when there was a flashlight laying down flat on this table here,
Yeah.
and suddenly it stood up on end and fell off the table.
Wow.
And then shortly after that, maybe a couple of weeks after that, George was in here with Dave Childers, and he set a coffee cup on the table. George walked out into the other room, and Dave was still in here. He wasn't looking, but he heard something behind him. He turned around, and the coffee cup was on the floor. So I think maybe he doesn't like things left in his quarters.
Right, yeah.
So,
That's some good stuff.
yep, some very interesting stuff has happened around here. And so that is about the house, I guess, Suzanne. There, of course,
Yeah.
is the basement, but you don't really want to get out.
No.
It's just a dirt floor.
Yeah, no. Well, thanks for the tour, Willie. It was really, like I said, I love the big old rooms and just the history itself. It's been
Yeah.
good to get some info on this.
It is. It's an interesting place.
Yeah.
So maybe we should discuss the paranormal now. What do you think?
Yes, sounds good.
All right.
Okay, so we're going to get into the paranormal aspect of the house. We're going to talk about the evidence, and one major part of that is this board next to the stairway. Is that true, Willie?
That is true. We refer to this as Joshua's board, and it has a rather interesting history. It started out, we were filming a documentary in here a few years ago, and Skip, who is the president of the board, and Jim, one of the investigators, were right here in the doorway just talking about the history, and they mentioned the name Joshua. And when they mentioned that name, their board fell over, just like that. And since then, there have been several different occasions when this board has, I think it's 4 or 5 times now, this board has fallen over when there has been nobody anywhere near it.
Interesting.
And one of those times, when it fell over, now you have to understand that this board, it lives right here. It's never anywhere else in the house, except when it falls over. But on one occasion, we were up in the trunk room upstairs doing a seance, and somebody mentioned Joshua, and we heard a loud bang right behind us. It was this board was up in the trunk room and fell over up there. How it got up there, nobody knows why it was there, but it seems like every time Joshua is mentioned, this board has a habit of coming alive. And I do want to show you. Hopefully you can get this okay on camera. And right here, he has carved his name, James. He did spell it wrong, but I assume he was probably just a little kid when he did it. So
Yeah,
that is the story of Joshua's board.
Excellent. Okay, we're gonna sit down and we're gonna go through some EVPs. So let's move on, shall we?
Okay, sounds like a plan.
Okay, Willie, thanks so much for the tour. We
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it.
My pleasure.
So you know, as we mentioned, I think very briefly, our gang's been here a couple of times. I know that you're pretty busy in terms of investigations, things of that nature. So let's talk a little bit now about why we're here. You know, about the paranormal
Okay.
aspect of the house. I know you got some evidence, and we're gonna watch a video and we're gonna listen to some recordings. But before we do that, let's talk a little about who it is you think people interact with here at the James house.
Okay. Well, first of all, Spirit Chasers Paranormal has been investigating here for probably about 8 years now. I think it was 2014 you first came. But the spirits that we have come across, definitely one of the Joshuas. We're not really sure which one it was, Joshua James. as evidenced by the board.
Sure, the board we talked about, yeah.
We believe another one is Frank James, who was up in the attic. He was the hired hand. His name was Frank James, but he was no relation to the James family. And there was another one that we only know him as Mr. Grumpy Pants, which is kind of funny. And that started a woman who lives right across the street from the house. When she was a little girl growing up, when the house was empty, she used to come over here and play. And she would encounter this guy up in the sick room. And he would never let anybody know what his name was. And he was kind of a grumpy old guy.
Okay.
So they just named him Mr. Grumpy Pants.
Makes sense.
And they could be, I mean, you know, we have one of those on the ship whose
Yeah.
name we've been trying to get for a very long time.
They won't tell you.
It happens.
Outside of that, we have recently come across a young boy who we believe his name is Samuel. And, you know, we've been doing a number of different things in here, investigating and having seances. And so I think there's a lot of spirits that are just passing through.
Sure.
And not
Yeah.
related to the house. So we never really know who we're getting. But
Okay.
those are some of the ones that we believe were with part of the family.
Okay, all right. So let's talk let's talk a little bit, because earlier we very briefly talked about Samuel.
Yep.
So I want you to explain how that came. I don't mean how he came into being, obviously, but how you came across this child, because I thought that was a pretty good story.
It was rather interesting. It started, one of our spirit chasers, George, was in the basement with some people. And I'm not really sure how he picked up the name. He's kind of psychic, you know, he gets a lot of stuff. And he came up with the name Samuel as a little child. And I believe it was later that same night, we went upstairs to the parents' bedroom, which is right above us right now. And we started to do a little table tipping seance session, whatever you want to call it. And my brother Jim brought out a table from the other room, and I said, it's not going to work. It's too heavy, it's too small, you know. No, come on, let's try it.
I've only seen it work with a very specific kind of table. You know what I mean, with a kind of a round table with the
the table tipping.
Yeah,
the little tables, yeah. But anyways, we tried it. There was 5 of us sitting around the table, and I started asking, is there anybody around here who'd like to communicate with us? And immediately, the table wasn't shaking or tipping or anything like that, but it was a definite vibration, so there was no question that was doing it. And so I started asking, and it says, okay, well, we can communicate through this table. If I ask you a question, if the answer is yes, shake the table. If it's no, just don't do anything. And of course I said, do you understand? And you know, what would be a yes? And the table vibrated, definite vibration. So we started asking questions, and what we narrowed down was that he was a little boy. His name was Samuel. And he was born in 1756. And then I didn't ask him, you know, when did you die? You know, I just said, how long were you here? And he said, you know, we were narrowed down the date range.
Sure.
Was it between this and that? And so he was there till 1767. And so that make him 11 years old. And we weren't able to find out if he was related to the James family. We have a suspicion maybe who he is might have been the son of a slave, because there was
Okay.
a possibility of Underground Railroad in the area.
Oh, right, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. So we think that might have been what he was, a son of a slave. And so we had a good session, we had a lot of information, and then on another night, we tried to do the table again, and it started out great, started out the same way. And he was answering questions, and then all of a sudden George, I don't remember how he came up with it, I guess a psychic impression, and he says, were you murdered? And it stopped, that was the end of it. We can never After that, we could never get any response from him at all. And we think perhaps what it is a spirit, like there is a dominant spirit in the house, and we think it's one of the Joshuas. And he didn't want this to come out, so he was like, we're not going to talk about this anymore. And we've never been able to get any communication going with him since then.
Really? Not at all since. No kidding. Okay.
So,
All right. Because I mean, we have that situation. We've had that happen on the ship where we have entities that we're talking to, and all of a sudden, you know, one way or another, it becomes pretty clear to us that they've basically been told to shut up.
Yes.
yeah.
I know that sometimes we ask about a certain entity, and we'll get nothing, and I'll ask, does he not like it when you talk about him? And they'll say yes, or they'll say no. That's one of those questions. I hate when I do that.
Yeah, and I forgot to add to that. I had told you before that not the second time when it stopped, but we tried it a third time, and we got absolutely no response. And as we were asking questions, trying to get a response, George was sitting at the end of the table across from me, and suddenly it was like something was channeling through him, and he just kept saying, "No, we're not going to talk about that. No, we're not talking about that." And this went on for a couple of minutes, and then he kind of like came out of whatever it was and said, "That was weird." So there apparently is a spirit here he thinks he's in charge.
Okay. All right.
So that's the way it's going to go with him.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay. So what are we going to listen to here?
All right. Well, one of the first night that we ever came in here to investigate, which I believe was 2014, we had only been here just maybe a half hour. We were kind of setting up some equipment, and everybody was just sort of wandering around, getting a feel for the place. And all of a sudden I heard a noise, like something bouncing, and nobody was responding. You know how that is. I said, hey, you know, stop. Did anybody hear that? And so what it turned out to be was this little wooden ball, about so big, very light, kind of like balsa wood actually, I guess. And it turns out that was the part of a game that the children used to play, the little cup and ball game.
Oh, sure, yeah. Yeah, okay.
And so anyway, as we were looking around, Lynn finally, she was the one that found it. She saw it right on the cellar steps here, and she picked it up. And so, you know, I wonder if she bounced it on the steps. That was exactly the noise that we heard.
Oh, no kidding.
And no question about it. So it came from upstairs somewhere, and I think it bounced down these steps and then bounced onto the cellar steps.
No kidding.
And you know, you could say, well, maybe somebody was up there and kicked it, but prior to us having come in that night, that ball was downstairs in the room right across from us. So obviously it didn't get kicked up the stairs and then back down.
Yeah, right.
Crazy.
So where did it come from?
Yeah.
You know?
All right.
That's
Well,
that
let's give it a listen.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Great.
I know it doesn't look beautiful, but it's beautiful to me, and I'm sure it's beautiful to you. I know it needs some work, but it's such a beautiful old.
Hello. What? Did you just drop something? Did anybody drop anything? No. Laura?
No, I didn't drop anything.
Yeah,
Something just went bouncing, I don't know, down the steps, or maybe down the cellar steps. Did you hear it, Willy?
I did hear it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was you, Willie.
No.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. I think I maybe even told you about the Houghton Mansion, watching the two guys on video yakking away as the ball rolled past them
Yeah.
on the floor and saying, you know, hello, any ghost hunters in the building? 'Cause we
Is
could
anybody
probably
paying attention?
use one down in the basement.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. But you're right. That's exactly what it sounds like. Is a little wooden ball.
it does.
It sounds like a little wooden ball coming down the stairs. That's exactly right. I like that.
That first night, actually, we had a couple of incidences that night. One of them, I think, me and Lynn were upstairs. My brother was right down here in this room, and all of a sudden he hit a loud bang on the outside of this wall over here. And his first thought is, you know, because nobody had investigated here before.
Sure.
His first thought was, well, it's probably the police, you know. So
Yeah.
what's going on in here? So he ran outside and he looked all around. There was nobody out there. It was a definite
Pretty
loud,
loud.
pretty
Okay,
loud
okay.
bang on the door.
Okay.
And we heard other noises that night.
Well, that's good though. It started off
It did.
with a bang,
It
but
did.
it also started off with the ball rolling. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That that's enough to keep you going.
Yeah, that's enough to
Anyway,
say,
right.
hey, you know, we want
Yeah,
to do this
that's
again.
something.
You know, and what is it, 8 years later now, here we are.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Okay, what's up next?
Well, let's see. I was here one night by myself. I know you're not supposed to investigate by myself, but you know, I don't care. So I was up in the trunk room. I had a recorder going, and I just for some reason just decided I was probably bored. I don't know. I said I'm just going to take a little break. I left the recorder running. I went outside, out to the picnic table for about 20 minutes. And I was the only one here, so there was nobody in the building, there was nobody outside. And when I came back in, you know, I just continued on, and later on when I reviewed the recording, I heard, well, there was a couple of things in there in that 20-minute session. There was a woman coughing, which we don't have that clip, but several members of the James family did die from consumption.
Okay, so coughing wouldn't be.
Coughing. And in that same room, on more than one occasion, people have smelled eucalyptus, which was something that was used for the treatment of consumption. Of course, these days, consumption is tuberculosis.
Right.
But also, I got on that recording the sound of an old-fashioned door latch opening or closing, I'm not sure which, and so we'll play that one today.
Okay, sure. Let's play that.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty clear that's what it is. I mean, it sounds exactly.
Yeah, oh yeah.
If you hadn't said it ahead of time, I'm not sure I would have recognized
Yeah.
it. But once you said it, it most definitely is one of those latches.
Yeah.
Latches on a
those
door.
old-fashioned kinda
Yeah, that's
door
pretty.
latches.
That's pretty clear.
It is.
That's pretty clear.
It is.
That's pretty clear.
We've had a couple of incidences of a woman laughing. One of our earlier on investigations, I was in the hallway upstairs at the top of the stairs, running my video camera, and I didn't catch anything on the video itself, but the audio on the camera did catch a woman laughing.
Oh, cool.
Yep.
Okay.
It happens twice. It's a short video. It happens twice. You can hear her laugh, and then a couple of seconds later, you do hear Lynn off in the distance saying something. I think she was downstairs, and then right after that, you hear the laugh again.
Okay. All right. Great. So we're gonna watch the video.
Yep.
Oh,
let's
sounds
give that
good.
a watch.
Okay. Great. Okay. That's pretty good because, like you said, you can hear Lynn,
Yeah.
but it's definitely on two different levels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the laugh, none of it's loud, but
No, it's not
but
loud.
the laughs are most definitely clearer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Closer to the audio, closer to the microphone.
Yeah, like I
than
said,
Lynn is, no
she was
question about
either
it.
in the other room, but I think she was downstairs.
Yeah, I can hear that. I can hear that. I can
It was
hear that.
funny, earlier that same night was, I was up in the hallway, and it was the only time personally I've been touched here. And I was right by the window at the other end of the steps there, and something touched me on the left shoulder. And I didn't have a flashlight with me because I never have flashlights because I don't like using flashlights.
That sound familiar? How many times on the ship I
John
say, Jesus, I'm a
never has
bad
a
ghost, I'm
flashlight.
I never have a flashlight.
Never.
You just get to the point where you know the place.
Well, besides that, you know, somebody shines a light on, and there goes your night
Well, there
vision,
goes your
you know?
night vision.
Yeah.
My thing is that I know the ship well enough that I know, a lot of times just don't, and I find that it becomes habit. So we're in Penhurst
somebody
down
had
the
turned their
tunnels and I don't have a flashlight.
Yeah. So I yelled to Lynn to come bring her flashlight so I could look, and there was nothing there that
Sure.
could have been touching me, no cobwebs or anything like that. So that was the same night, about probably 20 minutes before we captured the laughing. So I think maybe don't know who she is, but I think she's laughing at me actually.
You think so?
Yeah, I think she might be.
All right. Okay, so what's next there, Willie?
So that wasn't the only time we captured a laugh, though. There was another time when myself, Lynn, and Skip were walking up the stairs here, and we got just about to the top of the stairs. You can hear us walking and talking, but also just about the top of the stairs, you'll hear a woman laughing again, and it's probably the same woman. I think she's
Okay.
probably laughing at me again. So let's give that one.
Yeah, but she could have been laughing at Skip or Lynn. Give yourself
Oh,
a little bit.
she
of
could have been,
slack.
but
All
you know.
right. Okay. All right.
Let's
So
give
this
that
is
one
not a
a-
video. This is an audio.
No, this is just.
All right. Well, let's
just
give this a
an audio.
listen and see what we think.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that's pretty clear. I mean, that's pretty clear.
It's
and
not
I
very
love
loud,
those. I
you know,
love
so-
those too because, you know, I'm not a fan of edited audio.
Yeah.
You know, I love it, and it's not doesn't make for the best audio sometimes, but I love the contextual aspect of it.
The raw
Where you,
video,
yeah, you know, you hear the people walking. You
Yeah.
know that you're here and you're
Yeah.
talking.
Exactly.
So I love it when something interjects because it also sometimes it gives you something to compare to. You know what I mean? Like you hear on that particular clip, you hear the laugh. You heard Lynn. It's clearly not Lynn,
Right.
and obviously it's not you or Skip, but
Right. Yeah.
but it's clearly not Lynn, and you hear both things, so it's a pretty good comparison.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I like
I
that.
know exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I like that.
I agree. Yeah.
I like that.
So let's see, another EVP we got. This is pretty strange. It was just Lynn and myself. We were up in the attic, and we were just recording and taking pictures and stuff. And all of a sudden, we got this strange woman's voice. She's got like an accent, maybe Swedish or something. And we'll go ahead and play it for you first, and then kind of talk about what we.
Okay, all right,
did
sure.
first. So let's
Sure.
give
Okay.
that one a listen.
All right. Well, let's play it first.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking at a door. I'm looking at a door just floating all around. Are you Willie?
So,
Yikes.
yikes.
The heck was that?
What was that? Yeah.
So you're right. I mean, my first impulse is to say, well, that had to be Lynn.
Right.
But I mean, I've spoken to Lynn, you know, several hundred times, and,
Right.
and it certainly doesn't sound like Lynn.
No, it's obvious. She doesn't talk like that. And it starts out when she kind of like takes a breath, and it sounds like she says, "Oh my gut," which
Yeah, which has got to be oh my God, right?
yeah,
German.
it's Swedish, I guess.
Okay,
For
all right.
God. And it sounds like she is saying, "Oh my gut," I'm seeing orbs floating all around me. And she says, "Are you Willie?" Like she's asking. me
Yeah, yeah,
if
yeah,
I
yeah,
see
yeah.
him, you know.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Are You Willie, but I thought I was
thought it was Are You
emphasizing.
Willie, too.
I didn't think of it in terms
Are
of
you
are you
Willie?
seeing him?
Yeah.
I thought of it in terms of Are You Willie?
Okay, well, it
That's
could be
what I
either,
thought.
but you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's play it. Let's play it
Play
again
it again,
because
yeah.
because that's pretty crazy. And
Okay.
now that we've talked about it, everybody maybe have a better sense of what they're listening for. Okay,
Yeah,
so let's
yeah,
play
all
let's
right.
play that again, because
Okay.
that's a pretty crazy
Let's
clip.
do that. Okay.
Oh, I'm looking at the doors. I'm looking at the door just floating all around. Are you Willy?
Yeah, that is something else. That is
Yeah,
something
yeah,
else.
isn't
it?
Very, very crazy. I like it.
So,
I like it, but again, it once you listen to it,
Mm.
it doesn't sound like Lynn.
no,
It's
No.
definitely somebody else.
Definitely with somebody with
Something
an
else.
accent.
No question about it.
somebody could say, well, maybe for some reason the voice is distorted. You know,
I guess.
some electronic distorted on the recorder, but that was like a 45-minute recording, and just one little section gets distorted and the rest of it's clear. Oh, okay, that's impossible right
It
there.
just happened to be that one.
Yeah, that's
spot.
impossible right there. And then add to that, I had a second recorder, one floor below in the trunk room, and it was exactly the same thing.
Oh, you got it on another recorder as
Another
well.
recorder, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah,
two
yeah,
recorders for it to screw up in that one place.
Yeah, and
it
you know what
didn't
else?
happen.
You know, that's something you hear a lot of times about distortion. Oh, it sounds like, but I think we all know what distortion.
Yeah.
And when I say we, I mean people who listen to this stuff on a regular basis. You know what distortion sounds like. You know, a lot of times it's the tinny. You know what I mean? It's got that tinny tone to it, or something along those lines. You get a pretty good idea of what
Yeah.
distortion is, and that doesn't sound like this. A lot of things come to mind in terms of possibilities, but distortion, audio distortion, is
Yeah,
certainly not one of them. That's a pretty good clip. I like
So,
those.
Yeah, I think that's pretty good.
I
I,
like
don't know who
Yeah,
it
you
was.
got some good evidence.
Well, I love them because things like that are on the far end of the spectrum. Like, in some cases, you've got audio that's clearly contextual. You know what I mean? That's part of the conversation that we're having.
Yeah.
And then you have audio like that's
It
completely
just
off
comes
the
out of
rails.
nowhere, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where the heck did that come from?
Exactly, yeah.
Kind of stuff. And that's great. That's great stuff. I love that. Okay, we got anything else?
Well, we do have one more EVP. One of our members, George, was in here this was just recently, a couple of weeks ago, investigating. I believe it was on a night when we had a team come in to investigate here, and he picked up this EVP. Actually, was saying his name.
Oh, okay.
Don't know. I guess they're getting used to him, and somebody knew me by name,
Mhm.
so I guess maybe somebody knew George by name,
And that'll creep you out quick.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
can, yeah. You have a spirit call you by name, yeah. And the first part of the recording, I don't actually remember what it said, but then somebody, not him or anybody in the building, somebody says his name, George, and it is very clear.
Okay, all right, great. Let's give that a listen.
Okay.
Go outside.
Oh, I know I could. George.
Oh yeah, that's about as clear as it gets, right?
It is.
Yeah, that was a good
very,
one.
very clear. Yeah.
Okay. All right, good stuff. Well, we're gonna wrap up, but thank you very much, Willie, for your time. It's took a little bit longer than we thought it was gonna take. So
Well, you're dealing with me.
Yeah.
What do you want?
All right, so we're gonna say goodbye, but before we go, why don't you one more time? Where can we find you? Where can we find the James House?
Okay.
How can we help?
All right. Well, we're all on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, and the James House Association is the Facebook for the house. There is also a website which is still under construction, but it's thejameshousemuseum.org.
Okay.
And also on Facebook, you can find Spirit Chasers Paranormal. And yeah, on Facebook, it's Spirit Chasers Paranormal NH, which is not the real name, but we had to stick the NH in there, and any, we contact us. We do, Skip, the president, does historical tours of the house, and we are renting the house out now for teams. Any team wants to come in and do an investigation. And donations, of course, are always appreciated. We can take all the donations we can get. And so just check us out on Facebook, check out the website.
Great.
And
Great. Yep, highly recommended. Willy's a great guy. We've been working together on this and that for quite some time now, really.
yeah,
And
it really is.
and the team's been up here a couple of times. Highly recommend the location. You know, people complain in this field all the time about having to pay ridiculous money or having to go ridiculous distances, and the James House here in Hampton is neither of those two things. So it's highly recommended. It's a great location, and you'd be helping a really, really good cause. Okay, so Willy, thanks again.
Thanks,
Thank
Willy.
you, Don. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure. It was fun.
Always good talking to you.
Okay.
So thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed our tour of the James House.
You can always catch more of the Greater Boston Paranormal Associates at www.thegbpa.com. Greater Boston Paranormal Associates on Facebook, or USS Salem Paranormal Experience on Facebook. Hope you have a great week. Tune in next time. Thanks for watching.